Coming up on 5 Minute News. Kevin McCarthy becomes first Speaker of the US House of Representatives to be forced out of office. At least 21 dead in Venice bus crash described as apocalyptic scene. And thousands of healthcare workers strike over jobs and wages. It's Thursday, October 5. I'm Sunta Templeton. Kevin McCarthy will not run again after becoming the first Speaker of the House of Representatives to be forced out of office. Mr. McCarthy told politicians he would put the gavel up for grabs after being forced out of his role by a contingent of hard-right Conservatives. He told a press conference, "I feel fortunate to have served. I wouldn't change a thing." Republican Matt Gaetz of Florida orchestrated the rare vote on the obscure motion to vacate and pushed ahead swiftly into a dramatic roll call. Many of the complaints against the Speaker revolved around his truthfulness and his ability to keep the promises he's made. In a speech in the White House, Joe Biden said that despite Kevin McCarthy's removal, Democrats were willing to work with the GOP to pass spending bills and avoid a government shutdown that will otherwise occur in November. We cannot and should not again be faced with an 11th hour decision that threatens to shut down the government, Biden said. More than anything, we need to change the poisonous atmosphere in Washington, he added. With Mr. McCarthy out of the running, there's no obvious successor to lead the slim House Republican majority. The disgraced former President Donald Trump has denied any involvement with the motion that led to Mr. McCarthy's ousting. Jim Jordan, a prominent defender of Trump and current chair of the Judiciary Committee, has confirmed he will run. Patrick McHenry was named temporary Speaker from a list the Speaker is required to keep of potential replacements and will serve with limited powers until a replacement is chosen. He declared the House in recess until both parties can decide on a path forward. At least 21 people have died and 18 were injured after a bus carrying tourists to a campground crashed off an overpass near Venice in northern Italy. The bus veered off the road and fell close to railway lines in the district of Mestre, which is connected to Venice by a bridge. The cause of the accident was unclear, but officials said one line of inquiry was whether the driver, a 40-year-old Italian who was among those killed, had been taken ill before the crash. Venice City Councillor Renato Barrasso said it was an appalling tragedy. The city is in mourning. The coach had been carrying 40 passengers when it fell around 15 metres onto electricity lines and caught fire. Of the 18 injured, a number are critically ill, and it's thought that death toll could rise. 5 of the victims were Ukrainians and 1 was German, while the bus was also carrying passengers from France and Croatia, according to Italian news agencies. 2 children were also among the victims. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni expressed her condolences, saying in a statement that her government's thoughts were with the victims, their families and their friends. Italy has suffered a number of deadly bus crashes in recent years, including the deaths of 40 people in 2013 when a bus plunged off a viaduct in southern Italy. Picketing is underway at Kaiser Permanente hospitals as some 75,000 healthcare workers go on strike in Virginia, California and 3 other states over wages and staffing shortages. One of the US's largest insurers and healthcare system operators, it has 39 hospitals nationwide providing health cover for nearly 13 million people. Unions representing around 85,000 of the health system's employees nationally approved a strike for 3 days in California, Colorado, Oregon and Washington, and for 1 day in Virginia and Washington, D.C. The strikers include licensed vocational nurses and home health aides, as well as technicians in radiology, X-ray, surgical, pharmacy and emergency departments. Doctors are not participating, and Kaiser says its hospitals, including emergency rooms, will remain open during the walkouts. The company said it was bringing in thousands of temporary workers to fill gaps during the strike, but it could lead to delays in getting appointments and non-urgent procedures being rescheduled. Unions representing Kaiser workers say understaffing is boosting the hospital system's profits but hurting patients. Kaiser Permanente reported $2.1 billion in net income for this year's second quarter on more than $25 billion in operating revenue. But the company said it was still dealing with cost headwinds and challenges from inflation and labour shortages. This strike is the latest for the healthcare industry this year as it continues to confront burnout with heavy workloads, problems that were exacerbated greatly by the COVID-19 pandemic.
5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.
Faith in the news media has been challenged, making it even harder to get stories told. The Friday Reporter podcast was created to help audiences better understand the media by hosting journalists who will answer the questions to which we need answers. Join me every Friday to hear more.